and he just kind of had to throw it away. It's kind of remarkable how little he looks out there, by the way, but I guess we kind of knew that. But, I mean, it was bootleg after bootleg, but the Eagles seemed pretty prepared for that. And so he would boot out, and there'd be nobody there, and he would just kind of chuck it. And there were a decent amount of incompletions that I saw.
However, his accuracy, as you and I have talked about, has struggled. Today he threw some really good balls, and he also had some misses.
Breaking news coming out of the Browns joint practice session with the Philadelphia Eagles. Dillon Gabriel, who is being positioned as the reliable backup, and a key reason Shedeur Sanders hasn't been given real reps, is starting to fall apart right in front of everyone. His supposed effort to keep Sanders off the field is evaporating quickly under intense pressure from the Eagles' defensive front. Gabriel has completely folded, 4 sacks on just 5 dropbacks. No rhythm, no poise, no command of the offense. Whatever opportunity he had to prove himself has basically gone up in flames. But here's the part that has everyone furious. Despite Gabriel's collapse and clear inability to handle NFL speed, head coach Kevin Stefanski is still placing him ahead of Shedeur Sanders on the depth chart, giving Gabriel the second team spot through most of practice, while Sanders is supposedly nursing this mysterious injury. Meanwhile, Shedeur is standing on the sideline watching reps get wasted by someone who looks overwhelmed. Rumors of Sanders' injury are still swirling, but everyone can see that the real injury might be to Stefanski's credibility. The question now is, will Dillon Gabriel somehow bounce back and claim the role they keep trying to reserve for him? Or is this entire experiment about to implode and expose the bias we've been talking about all along? This situation is reaching a tipping point, and with every snap, the pressure is building. Let's break it all down.
Seemed like a lot of bootlegs, and a lot of bootlegs where nobody was really open, and he just kind of had to throw it away.
In an off-camera joint session against the Eagles, Dillon Gabriel's performance was disappointing, and Ross Tucker was first to report it. According to Tucker, Shedeur Sanders, despite all the preseason hype, appeared smaller live than expected. Under pressure from the defensive front, he struggled to maintain his grip on the ball, and his size seemed to affect his accuracy on several throws. On top of that, the running backs never found a rhythm either. The message is clear. Sanders still needs to prove he can be the answer for the Browns long term. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel's own struggles are becoming impossible to hide, raising serious doubts about whether he can actually handle pressure or if he's only out there because Stefanski wants him there. It might be too early for a final verdict, but the signs aren't good. His inability to perform under stress is making many wonder if Gabriel is really the solution Cleveland is hoping for, leaving more question marks than answers. Before jumping to conclusions though, look at his numbers in practice. Gabriel got only 5 reps, completed just 1 pass, and was sacked 4 times. That's a bleak 20% completion rate in training. If he can't handle that, what happens when the real games start? Stefanski made the choice to pull Shedeur and highlight Gabriel, but right now it looks like Gabriel is headed for a collapse. When that happens, Shedeur will likely get another shot. Until then, Stefanski better prepare for the backlash, because with Shedeur sidelined, Dillon Gabriel simply doesn't look like the answer.
I can't imagine there's many people that think Dillon Gabriel's a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. I don't care where they were drafted. And if the Browns are the one team that thinks that, then I'm going to suspect it's not true. They don't know what they're doing.
They've been on every quarterback evaluation for 30 years.
Right.
I never root against anybody.
Yeah.
But I'd be surprised if Dillon Gabriel's ever a legitimate starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
Despite his struggles, Gabriel remains upbeat and excited about what could potentially be his first NFL start. He sounded confident and stated clearly that he's ready to step onto the field and deliver, promising fans that it's going to be a great game. Optimism is one thing, but his performance in training has already raised major doubts. Even so, Gabriel insists he's prepared, when in reality, he's far from it. The truth is unavoidable. No, he's not ready. Dillon Gabriel hasn't had a bad day or two. His inconsistency shows up in every phase of practice. Even with more chances than Shedeur Sanders, Gabriel couldn't capitalize when it truly mattered, especially during the time when Sanders was sidelined. So what did he show? During the period with no Shedeur in the lineup, Gabriel completed just 11 out of 22 reps. That's a 50% completion rate with full opportunity and no pressure from Sanders standing next to him, and he still failed to take control. Let's be honest here. How can anyone seriously argue that Dillon Gabriel is the guy to lead this team? How do you put your trust in someone that unreliable when Shedeur Sanders is right there, fully healthy, focused, and producing every time he touches the field? If anyone thinks Gabriel's struggles are just a small blip, they're ignoring the pattern. This isn't a one-off. Look at day 8 of camp. One of his worst showings. Out of 14 reps, he completed just 3 passes, and the shocking part, he missed 11 times, by large margins, not even close. That's not nerves. That's who he is right now. From the very first play, the defense had him completely figured out. They could read him like a basic script, and he had no response. The rhythm was gone. The timing wasn't there. The accuracy wasn't even in the same zip code. And the longer this continues, the more obvious the gap between him and Shedeur becomes for everyone watching. Meanwhile, Stefanski keeps mentioning that Sanders' recovery might take a bit more time, stressing caution because of the muscle group affected. But the way he phrased it, that slight hesitation, the careful wording, only adds to the doubt. Every word sounds measured, like he's walking on eggshells around what's really going on. That cautious tone is making it nearly impossible to believe we're getting the whole story, and it leaves the impression that Stefanski is hiding something he doesn't want said out loud. At this point, how much longer can this coaching staff ignore what everyone else plainly sees?
If it's a right guard, you can play for that. When it's a quarterback, you kind of need that muscle to throw. So unfortunately, going to put him down for a little bit here. We'll treat it day to day and see how he responds. But want to be smart because he's a thrower, so you can't push up.
For Stephen A., this entire situation wasn't just about football. It was politics in its purest form. He argued that the timing surrounding this injury and the depth chart shuffle couldn't possibly be coincidence. To him, it was all ownership quietly steering the narrative, while Kevin Stefanski served as the face delivering the message to the public. In Stephen A. Sal's view, this had nothing to do with health or competition anymore. It was all about maintaining control and making sure Shedeur's momentum never reached a point where the Browns would be forced to make an uncomfortable decision. The result? A calculated move that left fans suspicious, critics furious, and Stephen A. absolutely convinced that the real story was hiding in plain sight. While Dillon Gabriel continued to stumble through practice, Sanders' presence made the entire offense look sharper and more cohesive. The difference between them wasn't subtle anymore. It was so obvious it became impossible to ignore. Every rep Gabriel took now felt like another reason to question Stefanski's choices. Every overthrow, every mistimed read, every stalled drive added weight to the argument against him. At this point, it feels like the coaching staff is trying to pretend they don't see what everyone else clearly does. In conclusion, the pressure is reaching a breaking point for Dillon Gabriel, and the coaching staff is starting to run out of excuses. Even after being given more than enough chances, especially while Sanders was sidelined, Gabriel's practices have been filled with inconsistency, missed targets, and a lack of poise under pressure. That 50% completion rate during joint sessions combined with disaster days like day 8 where he missed 11 passes paints a very clear picture. The defense has figured him out, and more importantly, Gabriel has shown zero adjustment. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders remains calm, focused, and consistent, a clear example of what a young leader should look like. His ability to handle pressure, read the field, and deliver with confidence highlights the growing gap between him and Gabriel every single day. With the eyes of the league now watching, the Browns have to answer the question, can Gabriel truly be the future, or is he just another quarterback who folds when it matters? The coaching staff doesn't have forever. As Shedeur gets healthy and Gabriel continues to struggle, avoiding the obvious becomes impossible. Gabriel may still have a window to prove himself, but right now nothing points in his favor. The Browns can't risk wasting another season waiting for someone to figure it out while a better option is standing right there in Sanders. As we head into the next game, the pressure cooker is about to explode. Cleveland needs a quarterback who delivers, not one who hesitates. Time will tell if Gabriel turns it around, but so far the gap between him and Sanders is undeniable. So what do you think? Can Dillon Gabriel still flip the script and prove he can lead this team, or has the inconsistency become too glaring to ignore? With Shedeur Sanders looking poised and ready, should the coaching staff keep waiting on Gabriel, or is it finally time to hand the reins to someone who's already earned it? Let us know in the comments below which move you think is best for the Browns moving forward.